Hello, hello. This is Paper Cuts Included coming to you live from the Ninja Turtle Sleeping Blanket. And that's how you know it's legit. Today we're going to be starting a new sort of series. I'm going to be calling it Turtle Thursday, where for at least the next 3 weeks we will be looking at Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the first volume. And at least for the 3 weeks, because we're going to be looking at Zulli's Winter Soul Run. The video before this, if you haven't seen it, is Puma Blues, which is a Zulli book. And so I thought it would, how could we not look at Zulli's Ninja Turtle run right after it? You know what I mean? So we're going to do that for at least the next 3 weeks. So the next 3 Thursdays, we're going to look at the 3 issues. And me and this specific run have a little bit of a history. This might have been the first ever Ninja Turtle story I ever read. It was either the first or the second one. The first Ninja Turtle book I ever bought was the first 2 issues of Return to New York. But I remember reading this one really, really early on and just being like, wow, that's different. Because before this, I was just used to the 2012 show, right? But, I read this and I was like, man, they draw turtles different. And so it was either this or The Return to New York was my first ever Turtle series. I'm leaning more towards this though, because I know I read this one digitally, but I know I didn't read Return to New York until I bought it. Because I just, I heard this one was so crazy. I saw that Kayfabe did an episode on it years ago. That's probably when I read it. So yeah, I probably read this when I was a junior in high school, and now I'm a senior in college. So I haven't reread it till today, actually. I read it right before we're doing this video to get a fresh new look on it. And let's just look at the cover first. It's a very nice wraparound cover, and it's one of those, like we do in a lot of episodes. Is the cover successful? Would I pick this up in a store? I think I would, solely because how wild it looks. Like a giant rat, 3 giant turtle things. Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. Great artwork, great use of that typography they always use for the turtle logo. So I think it's a 9 out of 10, for covers. So let's get right into it. And next week or maybe I think next Tuesday, we're going to be comparing this book with Puma Blues #1 to really see how, because they're very different. And if this is your first ever Paper Cuts Included video, we are a YouTube channel that talks about comic books, comic book art, art in general, artists. It is run by me and my 2 co-hosts. We're all working artists. We all work in the field, and we just want to talk about what we love, that being comic books. But we talk about more of the technical aspects. It's about an 80-20 split. 80% is me talking about the artwork, 20% is going to be me talking about the story. So if you want more of a story review, like if you want oh, what does Superman do in the newest issue, go to channels maybe like Comic Tropes, which they're really good at and I like for stuff like that. Whereas we're more, oh, they use that type of pen, that's really interesting. Oh, look at that typography, isn't that cool? So, you've been warned. So first we open it with a great just cover. Like, it might not look like a lot, but then you see all the little ink splots that they did. Like when we looked at Ronan and Miller did those like ink throws, we see it here all along the page. And it really, I think it helps establish that dirty city look. It's dark, it's desolate. This might be New York. I don't think they ever outright say if this is a New York story. This is a 3 issue series that did not come out back to back to back. I don't know. It might have been every other issue, or maybe even longer. But a great little city scene. This is a lot different than his art in Puma Blues, and that's why I want to do a comparison next Tuesday. But no, it starts with a screaming comes across the sky, a shrieking, a beating, of wings, of desire, of fluidity taking form. This is also written by Stephen Murphy, who also worked on Puma Blues with Zulli. So, pretty interesting team. I'm gonna see what more they did. And to me, this is the biggest difference between his Puma Blues artwork versus this, where his Puma Blues, he really showed how good he was at drawing the figure, right? Whereas this one, he's covering up his figure. He's putting Shredder in this like samurai armor. he doesn't have the giant gauntlets. All the characters in this are using katanas, and I think that's really interesting that when he's I don't know what if this or Puma Blues came out first, but it's maybe at the same time, because I'll show my evidence for that. But um, he in Puma Blues, he's so good at drawing the figure. You can tell he could as well been a classical artist drawing just figures. He's great at figure drawing, which is a skill of its own. But yet he covers his all of his Foot Clan characters and robes and armor. You don't get to see that really fine figure drawing skills. And I think that's really cool to see the difference in this book versus um, Puma Blues, where our main character is, wearing tight clothes or no shirts, and you just see the really great anatomy usage and stuff like that. So let's flip the page, and here we get our first look at Splinter. I love his Splinter design. Like, he draws a very well done rat. Like, Splinter looks like a monster. Or I guess it's Soul's Winter. I always call it Winter's Soul. Okay, it's Soul's Winter. But regardless, he draws an amazing Splinter, in my opinion. He makes him very animalistic. But in this story, he's supposed to be more of I guess, maybe a shaman-esque character. And I think he really capitalizes that. The ragged clothing, the animal bones, versus the pristine Shredder. That's like his gimmick, is he's the Shredder. But let's keep going. And see, now we get that Shredder and Splinter are fighting each other mentally in some mental warfare. And I think that's really cool. As the first fight, you're not showing how strong they are physically, you're showing how strong they are mentally, and it'll bring forth the next step in the story. And Splinter, he draws Splinter so well in such very different compositions. He shows him crying, he shows him at all angles of his body, and I think that's really cool. And he really you know draws his rat really good. The tail is super good, him hunched over. You can believe that this is a humanoid rat figure, showing those fangs, showing this is a great panel. The lettering's really good there. Someone else did the lettering, but no, I think his art's really good here. I would say might even aspects of it are better than his Puma Blues, and his Puma Blues is really good in my opinion. I think my light's flickering, which that sucks, but we'll get through it. But no, and then we get to see this awesome little, 2 pages of that mental warfare of they're fighting in the. Is that affecting it at all, that light? I don't think it is. Let's keep going. But yeah, this mental warfare of, you know, they're fighting in some third realm and they're just standing still while they're doing it. And Shredder, defeats him and he has this more, you know, there's his face. He's not wearing a plate of armor. And, the Splinter is just a giant rat. And I think, yeah, you got your samurai versus your rat, a demon versus, your noble warrior. Shredder is not necessarily a villain in this series. He's just a warrior wanting to fight an abomination, which is Splinter, which is pretty cool. He's not like I'm gonna take over the world with the Krang. He's a noble warrior from, the Foot Clan. And compared to this, we don't know much about Splinter, but this monster looking thing with a great shading panel. These 2 pages are probably one of my 2 favorite pages in the book, like that Shredder panel and this Splinter panel. And I think you plan your pages ahead, and I think that was the point. One side you show your noble, almost fully lit Shredder, and then you show your monster, your Splinter. He's ragged, he's lost. And I think that's really cool. What we got, then oh my god, these pages are so awesome, showing these 3. He's realized he can't defeat Shredder on his own, so what's he gonna do? He's got to summon his sons. And what are his turtles? And he's using these totems, and he swallows them, and he's giving them forth energy. But yet these 4 panels are so good, deciding to do it all in black for Shredder, or not Splinter, instead of showing that detail. I think it really works really well there. You know, it, this might be my favorite panel in the entire book. We'll see. There's a lot of those I'm probably going to say, though, because his artwork's just incredible. And then we get another awesome, shredder usage. Any panel in this book's amazing. It's just good. I really love how chauvinistic Shredder looks, but how monstrous Splinter looks. Like Splinter, you'd be afraid of him if you saw him and you didn't know what he was. But as Shredder, we get that highly armored look, and I think that's really cool. Shredder realizes he hasn't outright defeated Splinter, so what's he gonna do? Well, he summons. They both get their teams together. Splinter's gonna get his turtles, but Shredder's gonna get his Foot Clan. And really, okay, Foot Clan. I think that might be my only takeaway, like bad thing from this book is the Foot Clan are just shadowed villains. He and that might be the point, but I wish we might have saw more of there. Maybe we do in the next two issues. Granted, I haven't read this series since I was a junior in high school, but from this issue, they're just red shirts. And I know that's their point. They're foot soldiers. They're supposed to get cut down. But when you're showing this awesome Shredder, I want more awesome stuff, like more awesome Foot Clan members. You know what I mean? And I think the next page is our turtles. The turtles they're the four elements: the earth, wind, water, and fire. So they're the four elements, and maybe that was supposed to be colored at one point with their bandanas. But he draws his turtles like giant freaking turtles. Like these are also like golems, and they have that turtle head, and they're stocky and big, and he shows them forming into place and talking to them. They're not your cold cut combo turtles. They're some golems. You know what I mean? And he does it so well, showing these different shades of was it duotone, and the different shades of that as they're forming, materializing into place, and even the shadow right there on Splinter, so good. Like if you want to learn how to do black and white books, look at Zulli's artwork because I think you can really take away some really good stuff from it. And here we're going to see that a crow, and you might not understand what this crow is, but he's going to be a character too. And now we get into some Puma Blues, Puma Blues nature. We're not in the city no more. We're going to nature. And some really good turtle artwork. They're heading forth. They're going to fight. They know they're fighting each other. There's no let's run around for a couple issues and find ourselves. It's we're gonna go fight some mofo's. So we're seeing the turtles, how stocky they are, how just turtle-esque they are. Instead of cartoon characters, they're full-on giant turtles, but they look dense. You can tell they have weight. I think that's achieved with the varying line weights and the duotone shades and the shells. They just look stocky and they're hunched over, so they're heavy, you know. And what happens? We get our big fight scene. That turns out the turtles are covered. The Shredder had all of his Foot Clan lay beneath the ground, and now they're ambushed. Now we get our big conclusion for this issue, where they're fighting, and it's a great 2 or 4 pages of fighting. They're just it's a great fight scene. It's not overdone, but it sticks. It's classic turtles. They're fighting that Foot Clan. Them turtle boys don't give them no break. And the turtles look so stocky and so big, whereas the Foot Clan, your red shirts, they're getting cut down, and they don't look as cool. Just these black robes. I wish they did have like the bug eye look, like in the Mirage stuff. But we can only get so much. This is probably the best action panel in it, with all the ink splatters and the different you can tell the heat, some line weight, and that's really cool and a really great way to achieve motion, and the duotones at the corners. And it's going well until one of the turtles, they don't even name the turtles, they're just his sons, you know what I mean? But yeah, one of them gets their arm chopped off, and I think this is the first time they talk. Master, and he can feel it. He's as much a part of them as they're a part of him. So when his arm gets chopped off, Splinter he feels that pain. And so the turtles have lost this first round, but not without showing this awesome action scene of all this, ink spray, ink looks, and I love seeing people do that in black and white books. So if you do that and you do it well, A plus from me. your book just went up a peg in my opinion. So they have to retreat, and I like that panel a lot too. Some good artwork showing the emotion of Splinter, showing the turtles, not scared, but oh crap, probably roaring at the foot soldiers, you know, as Splinter surrounds them and they're retreating. Your turtles are retreating, they're not winning, they've been hurt bad. And Shredder's victorious. He's gloating. He's, that the W, maybe that was subtle, but a W for win. Whereas now Splinter needs to get them home because he has to try. Emphasis on try to save the turtle who's been hurt. If save it, we can. And that almost is how the book ends. But now we're seeing more of that crow, caca, caca. Great different uses of typography right there. And this is probably the first book where I haven't just praised the typography because it's probably the weakest part of this book. It's not bad, but it's not like the other books we've looked at where it's been amazing and something really special. And, probably a small thing, but using white ink on the crow to show that it has some sort of snow on it. I think that's a really cool touch. And do more of that in your artwork. Don't just make solid black sometimes. Figure out what you can do. Put some white inks on it. That, I think it really helps it stand out and it'll make viewers remember it. And that's the end of book one with a Puma Blues advertisement in the back, which is pretty cool. So yeah, there is Zulli's Ninja Turtles issue 1 of Soul's Winter. I think it's a great book. Probably not a great first jump in if you haven't read the Turtles. It's great. It's a 3-issue story that we'll look at, and the artwork's phenomenal. I think if you want to just read some great black and white books, look at Zulli stuff. It's really good. His art's incredible. And easy to read. It's fluid. I think this is going to be our shortest video because there's no talking heads. Like, it's, scene to scene to scene to scene. And there's no, fat. It's straight action. And if that's what you want, this is your kind of book. There's no, like, well, we're going to talk for 3 pages straight and learn the Shredder's origin. No, they're going from mental battle to turtle creation to final battle to conclusion. And if that's what you're into, this is a book you're going to like. The art's incredible, the story's incredible, and I can see why they wanted this pair to do a turtle story. It's very different, but different in a good way. You'll like it. I think all turtle fans should read it and appreciate it. And, the character designs are awesome. Shredder as a giant, or not giant, but, a shogun instead of his villain in the dark with gauntlets of razors. He's a samurai more so. Splinter being very ratty. The turtles being golems. It's really good. It's a very different breath of new air into the turtles if you've read almost every turtle story, and maybe you're getting tired of I'm gonna take over the world, Shredder, or Cowabunga turtles. They don't talk. I don't even think they say Cowabunga. I'd be really surprised if they do in this series. So if you just want an adult Ninja Turtle book, Zulli is your guy. It's only 3 issues, so it's quick, one and done. But hey, that's why we're going to be doing 2 more Turtle Thursdays after this. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you. If you liked what you've seen, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us out on the channel. And hey, we're pushing pretty close to our 40 subscriber goal. So let's keep trucking. I'd like to thank everyone who's watched it. And if you've never seen this book, or if this is your favorite turtle story, comment down below. Comment what your favorite turtle story is. Mine is, I really like the early, maybe probably first 20 issues of IDW. And that's not my favorite. I don't know what my favorite, maybe City at War. City at War might be my favorite. I don't know. Well, we'll talk about that. That'll have to be a video one day. But no, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything I could do more or better, comment below. I am a learning YouTuber like, anyone else who tries this venture. So feel free to comment. I won't get butthurt. I'll comment to all the comments I get, and again, I'd like to thank everyone who's watched this. It's been a real fun journey again here, and we're going to be looking at a whole lot of stuff. So thank you. So I guess I'll send you out on some marching orders, and I'm out of here. Make more art.